Hi, and welcome back. We are here live at SiegeCon 2017. My name is Regina Miller. I'm with Zapmill. Wanted to introduce you today. We have someone very cool who I know our stream audience and those involved with GGDA and across the country who are watching us would love to be involved with. This is Michelle. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. I'm Michelle Menard. I am currently the lead designer at Oxide Games. We're a strategy house up in Maryland, and I'm also the co-founder of Fishwizard Games, which is a board game company.
Fantastic. Could you tell us a little bit how you broke into the industry?
Oh boy. So accidentally, I guess is the best way to put it. So I'd always
Happy accidents.
Yay! So I'd always made games, just even as a kid. Because I grew up in podunk, swampy Louisiana, where we were, there was not a lot going on at all. And so we entertain ourselves. We would make board games and stuff like that. So
Right.
just have fun. And I continued doing this throughout middle school, throughout high school. And it literally never occurred to me that people do this for a living and that games just spring forth from the ether. Like you can get paid to do this. College still had not actually occurred to me that this was something you can do. So I still played D&D, still made games, was majoring in math and was doing some courses in the CS department. And it was one of my teachers' senior year of college in the CS department. She was like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I have no idea. And she was like, I'm just going to throw this out there. I was like, I'm so dumb. So it was Barbara Meyer was her name. And so because of her, I was like, oh, I think you're onto something, ma'am.
So Barbara Meyer, thank you. You have introduced us to one of the greats.
And so then I decided to go to grad school after that, since I had not a lot of actual training when I went any of this.
Right.
And there I met Brenda Brathwaite. She was the chair of SCAD's ITGM department at the time, and she helped introduce me to some people, and she was a wonderful first mentor.
Fantastic. So where, obviously, a lot of what you do takes, obviously, a lot of creativity. So where do you find your moments or inspiration of creativity?
Random places, truly random places. One of my favorite things to do when I'm just trying to think of new board games to explore is to actually just hit the random page button on Wikipedia and just make a laundry list of horrible things and start to match them up to game ideas, card game mechanics or different kinds of mechanics or dynamics. And can you make a PvP dynamically driven? Oh, what just came up on the random page? Right. Industrial agriculture. Okay, let's go do this. Because one of the only ways you can really get better is through practice, and it's through actually breaking outside your comfort zone. I really like RPGs a lot. Just staying in that little zone does not help you grow as a designer. So it's trying out different things, looking at different themes, different kinds of mechanics and dynamics, and just playing with all those. And you never know what'll actually lead to something cool and interesting.
Exactly. So for someone who is here, maybe who is in programming, or they're kind of focused in that kind of box, what would you suggest for either coming to something like SiegeCon, or what else do you recommend that those people do to kind of break out of that box and not get in a comfort zone?
So certainly going to conferences and networking with people who actually do work in the industry is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And then so if you like, say, first-person shooters and you like to program first-person shooters, that's fantastic. Try to go make a game for a 6-year-old child about candy or ponies or something that you know literally nothing about, because odds are, if when you do get a job in the industry, you will not be making games that you know anything about or care to play even. You are most likely not going to be your target audience. So learning how to research that target audience and kind of get into their headspace and see what it is they want from an experience is super, super important to start doing early on.
Fantastic. So obviously we have a lot of folks that are brand new to the industry. So what can you recommend? Our theme this year is building your skill tree. So what can you recommend to those that are here for the first time that may just kind of be wandering and just in awe at this moment? We've all been there, obviously.
Yeah. Well, depending on how, where they are. So are you a freshman in college? You've got some time. Actually, then go look at lots of different things. You've got all these different tracks here. Don't know anything about audio? Don't think you want to know anything about audio? Go to an audio track. You could really legit surprise yourself that there could be something there that maybe I do want to work in this. Or if you think I'm going to be a designer, yes, but go to an art track. Maybe you don't. There are lots of different things to do. And games is such a massive, massive industry that don't pigeonhole yourself this early. Now, once you've actually started to, take some courses, practice making some things, then do zero in a bit more. I really love drawing, but I really love drawing concept art and start to really focus more on very specific skills that will make you more marketable to future employers. Because while being a generalist is awesome for lots of small students, studios.
Yes.
If you're applying to larger studios, you're not going to find as many people there who are looking to hire a generalist, especially at a school. You want to kind of find that one thing that you were the best at, and you provide the most value at that one thing.
Right.
And that's what will make you hireable.
Fantastic, fantastic. So one of the other kind of things that we hear about that are of great value is obviously networking.
Yeah.
It's a trendy term out there. Everybody says go out, go network. But what does that look like in this industry?
This is networking. Networking is not like random emailing, cold emailing, just random people you found on the internet. That is not networking. That's annoying, and people do not appreciate that for the most part.
Right.
But like in these kinds of open, more public spaces where developers are putting themselves out there to go talk to people, to meet people, like we're here not because we just want to go talk to other people. We are actively interested in talking to new people too and finding those future hires. So come introduce yourself. Go to a panel. Go talk to the person actually at the panel afterwards. Introduce yourself. Have business cards. If you go to a conference without business cards, you have failed. Don't do that.
Vistaprint is your friend, everyone.
Vistaprint's amazing.
It's not hard.
Yeah, don't be fancy. Even if it's just a little white card with some print on it, that's all you need, really. Make a good impression. Don't fanboy. Just get out there and practice talking to people. And will you screw up a little bit probably at the beginning?
Of course.
Yes, that's okay.
We're human.
It's fine. But you'll get more comfortable talking to people the more you do it.
Exactly.
Practice.
Exactly. So what would you recommend for those that are currently in the industry? I mean, obviously when everybody gets established, they think, I kind of know everything. But what is a good collegial tip that we can maybe offer to our fellow peers and colleagues?
Well, admitting that you don't know everything. And while you may actually be that expert at that one thing, and you very well may be, that does not mean you're an expert in literally the 99% of the other things, and be willing to admit that either you know absolutely nothing about that and defer to the person who is the expert, and also be willing to learn more about those things, because games are primarily still a team, I don't want to say sport, but they're a team building, and you are not the one person on the game that has to do everything in most cases, and so other people are going to be the experts, and they will tell you when you are wrong, and they're correct in that case, and you need to learn to check your ego at the door and be like, you're right, I don't know anything about that, and okay, maybe that's the way we do need to do it, and I'll be willing to learn more from you in the future on that. Just be understanding that it is not the person up here makes all the decisions. You are a team, and you're all equally important and valuable.
Exactly. Is there anything out there? Obviously, team building is extremely important in everything that we're doing. So is there anything that people can do, kind of offline, online, that just is in the everyday of building better team skills?
A lot of it just really comes down to practice.
Yeah. No, we'll keep saying practice. I was going to say, the third time we say it, everyone out there will finally get it.
So before you say you get hired and you do some in college you often have to do team projects or something like that. Don't be the person who either insists on taking over everything and bossing people around and you're not learning anything then. Also, don't be that person on the team project who doesn't do anything because you're not helping anyone there either. So just in all those little day-to-day sort of things where you're paired up with people that you don't necessarily want to work with, try to make it work the best you can, and don't just be like, the project will be over in 3 weeks and I'll never have to see this person again, because guess what? You don't get to say who you get to work with either, and you got to work with that guy for years. And so you're going to have to learn to work with them. So I know group projects and things like that are annoying, but you never really try to take them, learn everything you can from them, and don't just hope it's over and just wait till the end for those.
Exactly. So obviously one important example of great team building is sitting right here on our table today. So would you want to talk a little bit about Gateway Uprising and tell us a little bit more about what we're looking at here?
So this is Gateway Uprising. So Fishwizard Games was founded by 3 different, we all were game developers in Maryland, and then for various reasons, studios closed, bad things happened, and we all sort of found each other while we were all consulting full time. So I was a designer consultant full-time. John Hawkins at the time was also a designer consultant full-time. And then Sean Andrew Murray, who created the IP and the artwork for the game, was a full-time freelance consultant artist.
Wow.
And just through random happenstance, we all met each other. We're like, we got free time. We can do this. We're like, let's build a game. And John's like, I've got this world IP. And you're like, yes, you do, sir. let's go do some stuff here. This is cool. It did take 3 years because while we'd all worked in video games for a long time. None of us had really done that much in board games yet, and so there was a lot of learning. We did eventually find a publisher with Cool Mini who's based here in Atlanta, and they were really excellent to work with. And so, this finally just came out in stores Friday.
Yay!
After a long battle. It's out.
Clap. No, that's great. And you actually brought up something great, because I think sometimes we tend to kind of, pigeonhole and think of just video games. And
Yeah.
obviously there's such a broader, spectrum of games out there. So can you tell us one of the differences between, developing in video versus board?
One thing with video games is you can count on the computer to do a lot of things for you, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. But when you're doing something like digital, your player is the computer, so all these complicated, beautiful math things, complicated, beautiful resources and systems you can have in like an MMO or a first-person shooter or something, you can't do with a board game. Your player has to track everything. So I like it a lot in that it makes you distill really basic ideas down to their simplest they possibly can be, because you can't create these massively, horrifically complex things. The player just can't do that. They aren't a computer.
Right.
So it's really getting down to that, like, what makes good design fundamentally, and because you get rid of all the bells and whistles. There are no fancy particle effects, there's no fancy audio, you can't hide behind beautiful graphics. You have to, all you've got is some nice art and your design, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And if your design is bad, it's
Mm-hmm.
very obvious very quickly.
And what about some of the writing or different things that we see out there that kind of maybe help build?
So writing is one of those where it's often underappreciated until the last minute, and that's bad, and it makes me very sad.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that goes back to, again, respecting everyone on the team, and that, as a giant multidisciplinary system, this goes for both board and analog and digital,
Mm-hmm.
that when you start to decide certain aspects of your game aren't important, it brings the entire thing down. So writing is one of those which gets disrespected. Audio gets oftentimes disrespected. But the problem is those are two of your biggest facets for connecting emotionally with the players,
right,
and telling stories and really immersing them in your experience. And when they start to see grammar issues or just tiny things where well, that doesn't make sense from that character from a personality perspective, it's very hard to unsee those things ever. And you're and then it makes you look like you are sloppy, because you were.
right.
And so the entire opinion of the studio and the game just tanks. So everything is important. I don't care.
It comes down to the skills.
It
It comes down to the skills.
Important. Everything is just as important as everything else.
I love it. I love it. So as we go out, what is next in Michelle's world?
Well, Oxide's got a new project that I can't really speak to right now, but it is super exciting. So in a few years back later, NDAs are fun. So we've got that coming up. We do want to keep, Fishwizard does want to keep working in the Gateway universe. We've got a couple of other new game ideas we want to start playing around with now that this one's out and finished. So hopefully there will be more products in the Gateway universe in the
Fantastic. Well, everyone go out. Gateway Uprising is the game that is out there now, just out on Friday. You saw it here. And Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you around here at SiegeCon. And I know that our audience out there who's catching us online will meet you eventually. Networking. Come meet her. She's obviously a very cool person, as you can see, and easy to talk to. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate it.